Yeah, welcome back to Selenium training. So we are dealing with a prerequisite videos. So to learn WebDriver you need a little bit Java. So in this video we'll be discussing an interface. Okay, this is the video number 3 of Selenium prerequisite. Okay, so we'll be seeing in last class we have seen about inheritance and how you deal inheritance, multiple inheritance and all. So in today class I'll be teaching you about interfaces. Okay, so what is interface? So this is a this interface you need to know before you starting into the WebDriver. The first step you write in WebDriver deals with the interface. Okay, so whenever you begin your journey in Selenium WebDriver, you have to start with the first core concept, that is interface. So you need to understand before we dig into actual WebDriver concept. Okay, so I'll show you the what is an interface and how to declare interface and what is its exact usage, and also what is the practical usage of this interface in the Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so basically interface means this is it is a client agreement. Okay, this is a client agreement between actual code and class implementation. So what this sentence means, see, for example, so there is one developer team which should develop some application, for example assume that a bank application. So client comes and he defines an interface by telling that I need to please develop the pay credit card. So how to pay the credit card end-to-end scenario, develop that method, and also develop checking balance account, and also develop transfer balance. These three methods he will open an interface and he will declare that methods here. That means he will not declare a code, he will not write the code and implementation. That work should be done by developer, right? So what he will do is he'll just make a three methods with no body. That means only signature, like pay credit card, for example, client comes and like this, make the pay credit card flow, and also the transfer balance from checking balance. I want these methods to be implemented. Okay, so these three he will declare an interface without any body. He will just come and use the method like this. Okay, he will not write any implementation because that's the not responsibility of client. The developer who agrees for this development has to develop this, right? So he will come, he will define an interface and he will declare like this. And now this is the responsible of the client to take up these three methods and implement these methods. Okay, so what's the basic thing in interface is, in interface we will have only methods but does not implementation of those methods. Okay, to implement, for example, these three methods, to implement these methods we need classes. Only classes can implement the methods which are present in interface. This is the main point you have to know. Classes can implement the methods present in interface. Okay, so we will declare. So okay, for example I'll define one interface now. Okay, just follow me, you will get the things what I am going to tell. Just follow my video till the end. Okay, interface concept. No, what I'm going, I'll declare interface, right? So before that I'll create one package called interface concept. Okay, better you write some, add some concept or like this, because as interface is a keyword, sometimes it may be problem. and here I'll create an interface. Right click, new, and go select an interface here. Okay, select this option, and this is some banking client. So bank client will come, and he will define his methods what he need to develop by the developers. Okay, uh, public, see, void pay credit card, this is one method. Okay, and will come and also develop transfer balance code. So whenever you want to transfer balance to other account, so he wants to develop this method. And next, he also wants to public void checking balance. Okay, he wants these three methods to develop. So that's the work of developer to develop these. So what he will do is he will create an interface. As I told you earlier, the basic definition of interface is it has the methods but does not body. It just defines the signature. This is signature. To implement these methods we need classes. Okay, only classes can implement the methods which are present in an interface. These are the methods which are without implementation. Okay, make sure that you need not to, you should not write even braces like this. So empty means not even like this you need to write. Okay, even this braces will throw an error. You have to just define the method signature, that's it. Apart from that, nothing you need to do here. Now what I'll do is I'll create a class, developing class name is we are developing, right, something. And here whenever you take agreement with client that I will implement the methods of all these interface. Okay, when you want to implement all these methods present in this banking client interface, then if you want to implement those methods, you need to write this keyword implements banking client. That means we are taking agreement that I am the responsible to implement all the methods, okay, which are present in the banking client interface, and this is the keyword for that, implements. Here we are getting some error. Let's see what is this. See, whenever I just take an agreement, when we are writing this implements keyword, that means we are taking a complete agreement with this implement name, with this interface called banking client, that I am responsible to implement all the methods which are present in you. Okay, that's the sentence meaning. I'll mention here in comments. Now whenever I use the implements and an interface name, that means now this class is responsible to implement all the methods. I am writing in caps. See, all, we need to implement all the methods. We should not miss anything of this banking client interface. This is, we are making agreement. Okay, so this is good, right? Whenever developer client comes and write the all the methods, so whenever we are taking agreement with it, that means we need to implement all the methods. So he'll come, so we'll have an client will have an outlook. Okay, so he implemented my interface, right? So now we are getting error, red line here. You know why? When you move your mouse here, it is telling please add unimplemented methods. That means you have taken agreement that you will implement all those methods, so please implement. This is asking. Whenever you click here, just click here, all the methods will be generated here. That means it is showing us please implement these three. The error is gone here. Check. You miss any one of these, again error will come. Concentrate in this developing. You will have one red line if you miss anything. That means as agreement you need to implement all the methods, but whenever you just comment out this, okay, so you got defect. that means you are missing one method. Okay, but as per interface agreement, whenever you implement something, you need to, I mean, implement all the methods. So remove the comments, again the error will go. Yeah, so that's the basic definition of interfaces. Now you will get idea. It is a client agreement between the methods and that particular method's class implementation. Okay, so the main concept here you have to learn is interface will have a methods but without body. A classes who takes an agreement to implement those interface will implement the methods which are present in that particular interface. In our example, banking client is an interface with the three methods: pay credit card, transfer balance and checking balance. So developing is the name of the class that implements that interface. I mean, in the sense, this takes an agreement to implement all the methods present in that banking client interface. So that's the reason with an annotation override we have again redefined all the methods here. So now it is your duty to write the code of pay credit card here and transfer balance here and checking balance here to execute our test cases perfectly. Right, one more thing you need to know here: by default all the methods in interface are public. Public in the sense you can access in other packages in other classes also. If you are still confusing about what is public, private and protected, watch my, I think, some video number of Java videos where I have explained clearly what each access modifier means, what is the usage of public and how can we use it: public, private, protected and all. Okay, so what's in public? Public in the sense you can access anywhere outside the class and outside the package. But if you, by default, interface methods are public. If you try to write private here, it will throw error. Okay, see, it's throwing a red line here. Remove invalid modifier. That means invalid, this modifier is not allowed. So when you remove, the error is gone, because by default it is public. It's not necessary for you to mention deliberately public. If you don't mention also, by default it will take as public, right? So now we'll do the small concept here. Yeah, we have different three methods. I'll write just my namesake. I'll write system.println pay credit card implemented. Some, I need to execute this code, right? So I'm writing some stuff here. Transfer balance implemented and checking balance implemented, right? So now I'll create a class, object of this class. Okay, how to create the object of the class? I hope you know this very well. If not, as usual, watch the first video regarding Java. I have clearly explained the class basics, how to create a class and all. We have taken a variety class which has some spelling confusion. Okay, yeah, D, right? Yeah. Now for accessing these methods, we'll create a class and call it by syntax object dot method name. Do you remember? I have told you in last class how to call a method in class. First we need to create object for that class and we'll call that method by this syntax object dot method. So that method will be called. In our case, object is D, just now created, right? Object for class, and D dot, as usual you will get all the methods. Okay, checking balance, pay credit card, transfer balance, you call this so that it will run. and if you click here, it will say pay credit card implemented, because we call that method. So what is present here, successfully finished. The same way you can call transfer balance and all. And now I'll explain you one more catchy here. Look carefully. What I'll do is I'll create one more class that is independent, that is unique to developing class. Till now what we have done is we implemented the methods present in banking client interface. These three are the methods. Okay, so now I will create some class, some method which is own to only this class, not related to interface. You can create any of your methods. Only your aim is, when you are implementing some interface, the rule is you have to implement all the methods present in the interface. That doesn't mean that you have to only implement those. You can add your extra methods also in your own class. Okay, but make sure that you implement all the methods of that interface. That's it. But there is no reason that you have this class is only dedicated for implementing those methods present in interface. You have to implement those all, plus you can add any additional methods which are unique to your own class. Okay, so here, for example, client will say basic concepts like pay, credit card, transfer balance and all, but login, logout, some other scenarios you are defining your own class. This is an independent of what interface. This is related to this own class. Some logged in I'll write. Remember here, don't confuse here. Once again I am telling, whenever you are implementing an interface with this keyword, you are taking the responsibility to implement all the methods of that interface. Not only that, plus you can add your own methods also, but main criteria is when you are implementing, you need to do all, plus your wish, anything you can add, not only those. So that's to explain that, to tell that I am just taking other method here. This is unique to this. Again give d dot, you will get login also here. Yeah, logged in. And now one concept you need to understand here. Okay, I will create again the object for developing method. Concentrate carefully. This one, what I am telling now. Okay, and I am assigning the name for this object as dr now. Okay, look here, and I have used here return type as developing. There is one rule in Java that you can use even banking client here. Confused? What is this? Don't worry, I'll explain you now. I think the spelling is wrong. Change to developing. Yeah. See, observe this class, this method and this method. I'll explain you difference between these two now. This method create an object of developing class, and it is responsible to call all the methods of developing. This class. This is an object of developing class, and this is responsible to call the methods of banking client interface. Small difference between these two. So there is one rule in Java, like child reference can be assigned to parent object. Child object can be referenced to a parent object. That means, look here, again I'll tell you the difference. Whenever we are creating an object of this class and we are assigning it to a developing class, return type reference we are using as developing class. In the sense, D is responsible to call all the methods of this developing class. And what this says is, dr is responsible to call all the methods of banking client class, banking client interface. With this object, what are the methods present in banking client? We know transfer balance, pay credit card and checking balance. If you see here dr dot, you won't get login here. Look, you are getting checking balance equals pay credit card transfer. These three are there, but there is no login here. Why there is no login? because we are assigning return type reference as banking client. In the sense, dr is responsible only to implement the methods, to call the methods of banking client interface, but not developing class. Whereas here you see, you give d dot here, you will see login. Why we are seeing login here? Because d is responsible to call the methods of this developing class. All depends on the return type here. Carefully observe the return type. Here I am using banking client return type so that dr can call this interface stuff, and here it will call developing class. This type of mechanism is called a runtime polymorphism. Creating our object and in runtime calling the stuff what a return type is assigned to us. Here in runtime it will call all the developing class methods, but whereas dr will carefully observe the banking client methods only, and it is responsible to call that methods only. If you try to call dr.login, it will throw an error. See that it's throwing some red line. It's saying create method login in type banking client. It is asking to go and create some method in interface, banking client interface login method, so that you can call. Why? Because this dr is responsible only for banking client methods, whereas here you see d dot you can successfully call login without any error. See, no error here. So this will throw a compile error. This type of assigning is called a runtime polymorphism. This step will be using in our basic Selenium WebDriver concept. So where we are using, I'll tell you when I am dealing a WebDriver day 1 class, not day 1, day 2 class of WebDriver, I'll bring you this topic again. Okay, so don't just confuse. Simple concept. We have declared an interface, we have declared class. Now we are very familiar that we know the concept of inheritance. We will write their methods and we will take one class and we will implement that interface by using this keyword. Whenever we use this keyword and call some interface, we are taking agreement as we are responsible to implement all those methods. Okay, now client comes here and he will check his methods are executing successfully or not. When he use this concept, he will get all the methods related to d.login, logout, and which he is not interested also. Like developing class took agreement, but he can do his own methods also, right? So client is interested only his methods what he have defined in that interface. So what he will do is he will come here and he will use this logic, new developing dr, and he will use here banking client return reference type, so that he will have access to only his methods. And tomorrow there is one more, I'll define one more interface, like a domain client. Okay, and I'll write here some methods, public void what some investments. Okay, you can call more than one interface into one class. Just add comma, give comma, and write that particular interface name, so that this client is responsible for now two interfaces. One is banking client and one is domain client. So we are throwing error. Why? Move your mouse. It is telling please add unimplemented method. What's that unimplemented method? Investment. Because now we took agreement of two interfaces. One class can implement multiple interfaces also. You just need to separate them by using comma, and how many interfaces you need, give that all. Move your mouse. It's saying add unimplemented method. Click, so that you will get that investment somewhere down. Yeah, you got here. Investing something. Okay, and now so this domain client will come here. He need to check whether his stuff is working properly or not. What he will do is, he is not interested all this pay credit card, login, transfer balance. These are his that's all in not his scope. So his scope is only investment. So he need to call only those stuff. Then what he will do is, to use only those kind of things. Yes, okay, some other object, and here he will return type he will write as domain client, so that he'll have access to only investment. Look here, where is yeah, investment here. No login, no pay credit card, and not. Why? Because the return type you have written is domain client. If you want to have all the methods access whatever you defined in the class, then go with normal class method developing. Give the class name, so whatever present in this method it will have access. Okay, so this is what a runtime polymorphism. You can call now ds dot investment. Okay, that particular thing will be called. So what you have learned here, you can call multiple interfaces in the single class by using single comma, I mean just comma delimiter, and you are clear with an interface definition, and you are also clear with runtime polymorphism. Okay, you can call only the particular methods of particular interface, right? So this is what about polymorphism, and we will be using this in our WebDriver concept. The first step what we are writing WebDriver deals with the today class. Don't worry, when I am dealing with that WebDriver actual Selenium, again I will repeat this class, but when you are listening second time you will be perfect, right? So now you have an idea, right? So when I am explaining you again on that day, you will get the things soon, right? So that's it about today's class about the interface and the polymorphism. Thank you.